Our Rapacious Elites. This opinion examines how Pakistan's entrenched elites have hijacked the state, denying ordinary citizens economic and political rights. Decades of political instability, recurrent constitutional breakdowns, and disastrous wars and insurgencies, coupled with the insatiable appetite of the elites' political, judicial, security, bureaucratic, business, and landed for wealth and power, have denied ordinary folk their due share in the economic pie in political decision-making. Insatiable appetite is a metaphor meaning an unquenchable desire. Economic pie is a metaphor for the total wealth available. This sentence means that repeated crises in the greed of powerful groups have deprived common people of both wealth and a voice in governance. In fact, the poor and powerless are the worst sufferers of a constitutionally degenerated order, mainly resulting from the failure of both the political leadership and the judiciary. Constitutionally degenerated order is a phrase meaning a system that has eroded from its original democratic principles. This sentence means that the breakdown of constitutional norms has hurt the most vulnerable the most. Barring some exceptions, the political leadership has largely played a deplorable role in the history of our democratic struggle. Deplorable is an adjective meaning deserving strong condemnation. This sentence means that most politicians have acted shamefully in the fight for democracy. Both democracy and the people's rights and liberties have been sacrificed at the altar of personal and political benefits. Sacrificed at the altar is a metaphor meaning given up for the sake of something else. This sentence means that leaders have abandoned democratic values to serve their own ambitions. In many cases, people's power has been leveraged to get a better deal from powerful quarters. Leveraged is a verb meaning to use something to maximum advantage. This sentence means that politicians have used popular support as a bargaining chip with the real power brokers. Ideology and morality have given way to the consolidation of dynastic politics, again motivated by the relentless pursuit of power and pelf. Given way to is a phrasal verb meaning been replaced by. Dynastic politics is a term referring to power passed within families. Pelf is a noun meaning ill-gotten gains or wealth. This sentence means that ethics have been abandoned for family rule and greed. One or the other among the mainstream leadership has lent a shoulder to non-democratic forces at critical junctures of constitutional struggle, or as lend a shoulder is an idiomatic expression meaning supported or assisted. Critical junctures is a phrase meaning pivotal moments. This sentence means that top politicians have sided with authoritarian elements when it suited them. Until some years ago, the PTI-led coalition upheld the hybrid regime, acting as the junior adjunct of the establishment-dominated dispensation, while the opposition, particularly the PML and PPP, was mercilessly persecuted. Hybrid regime is a term for a system combining democratic and authoritarian elements. Junior adjunct is a metaphor meaning a subordinate partner. Dispensation is a noun meaning the ruling order or system. Mercilessly persecuted is a phrase meaning harshly and relentlessly targeted. This sentence means that the PTI government cooperated with the military-backed power structure while oppressing its opponents. The shoe is now on the other foot. The PTI is being battered by the PML-PPP coalition ostensibly at the behest of the powers that be. The shoe is on the other foot is an idiom meaning roles have reversed. Battered is a verb meaning beaten or attacked. At the behest of is an idiomatic expression meaning at the order or request of. This sentence means that now PTI finds itself under attack by a new ruling alliance, apparently directed by the real power brokers. The latter's alternating cycle of conflict and conciliation with one or the other component of the political leadership has over the years crystallized into what has aptly come to be described as a hybrid regime, a combination of authoritarianism and plutocracy. Alternating cycle is a phrase meaning a repeating back and forth pattern. Crystallized is a verb meaning become fixed or clear. Plutocracy is a term meaning rule by the wealthy. This sentence means that repeated patterns of repression and appeasement have hardened into a mixed system of elite rule. Dominated by non-political influential quarters, it also includes an array of other forces: compliant politicians, ambitious elements in the judiciary, crony capitalists, landed interests, and a highly politicized bureaucracy. Non-political influential quarters refers to powerful groups outside elected government. Crony capitalists is a term for business people who profit from close ties with the powerful. This sentence means that unelected elites, plus their political allies, control the state. These elites hold the handles of power and can also be charged with appropriating much of the national wealth and resources, keeping the majority of the populace out of the politico-economic calculus. Hold the handles of power is a metaphor meaning firmly control the levers of authority. Appropriating is a verb meaning taking for one's own use, often without right. Politico-economic calculus is a term meaning the decision-making process that balances political and economic factors. This sentence means that the elites have grabbed the nation's wealth and excluded ordinary citizens from decisions. It is no wonder, then, that 40% of the population lives below the poverty line. Every third child is out of school in this age of AI. 3 out of 4 persons are deprived of clean drinking water and sanitation, and millions live in appalling conditions in squatter settlements. Below the poverty line is a technical term meaning earning less than a set minimum for basic living. Squatter settlements is a term for makeshift housing on unowned land. This sentence means that social indicators are dire: poverty, lack of education, water, sanitation, and decent housing. Social disparity has also touched new heights. Social disparity is a term meaning unequal distribution of wealth and opportunity. Touched new heights is an idiom meaning reached unprecedented levels. This sentence means that inequality has become worse than ever. Pakistan's top 1 PC monopolizes more wealth than the bottom 70 PC, while 42 PC of the country's income is earned by the top 10 PC of households. The bottom 50 PC earn only 13 PC. Monopolizes is a verb meaning completely controls. This sentence means that the richest segments control most income, while the majority get very little. Yet the minimum wage remains almost unchanged even during inflation. The sentence means that basic pay has been neglected despite rising prices. In contrast, the salaries and allowances of the top functionaries, judges, parliamentarians, the military brass, and senior bureaucracy have been substantially raised. Military brass is a jargon term for high-ranking officers. This sentence means that those at the top have enjoyed significant pay hikes. Likewise, the industrial, financial, and property classes also regularly receive generous subsidies and tax exemptions. Property classes refers to those owning large assets or land. Subsidies is a technical term for government financial support. This sentence means that wealthy sectors get favorable financial treatment. Who will or should protect the citizenry against state capture by a selfish elite? State capture is a jargon term meaning when private interests control public policy. This rhetorical question means, who stands up for ordinary people when elites dominate the state? Thus, the elitist state has, for ages now, abandoned the masses, millions of jobless, underpaid, landless, homeless, marginalized, disenfranchised, and caste, religion, gender-battered people. Marginalized is a term meaning pushed to the edges of society. Disenfranchised is a term meaning deprived of voting rights or civic participation. This sentence means that powerless groups have been consistently neglected and oppressed. Many of the jobless youth are taking to drugs and even dying by suicide. This sentence means that despair among unemployed young people leads to substance abuse and self-harm. Except for handing some periodic cash transfers to the poorest communities to garner support, the state and political elites are not willing to share the common wealth and resources with the people. Cash transfers is a technical term for direct government payments to individuals. Garner support is a phrasal verb meaning to win backing or favor. This sentence means that limited welfare is used as political bait rather than genuine redistribution. Instead, the latter's democratic voice and peaceful protests are met with force on the pretext of national security and the maintenance of order. Pretext is a noun meaning a false reason given to justify an action. This sentence means that dissent is crushed under the guise of protecting security. Interestingly, certain elements have lately started highlighting the tragic plight of the people caught up in the war-torn states in the Middle East and Africa, expecting to earn the people's gratitude for keeping this country safe and unified. Caught up in is a phrasal verb meaning involved in. Gratitude is a noun meaning thankful appreciation. In awe, safe, and unified are terms in scare quotes to suggest rhetorical overstatement. This sentence means that elites invoke foreign crises to portray themselves as patriots. This raises questions. The country may be safe, but for whom? This sentence means safety exists only for the elite, not ordinary citizens. Are the common men and women safe physically, economically, environmentally, socially, politically? This sentence enumerates multiple dimensions in which ordinary people remain insecure. Or are they at the mercy of criminals, terrorists, inept and corrupt public functionaries, crony capitalists, and retrogressive feudal tribal forces? At the mercy of is an idiom meaning helplessly subject to. This sentence means that people suffer from crime, corruption, and feudal oppression. How is the country unified when there exists a plethora of fault lines: social, political, ethnic, sectarian, regional, institutional, and civil military? Plethora is a noun meaning an excess or large number. Fault lines is a metaphor meaning divisions or sources of conflict. This sentence means that deep societal divisions contradict claims of national unity. Only a small and close-knit group of elites is unified, bonded by their common interest in keeping the current exploitative politico-legal order alive. Close-knit is an adjective meaning tightly connected. Exploitative is an adjective meaning taking unfair advantage. This sentence means that elites alone are cohesive, working to preserve their own privileges. Against such a reality, the question that arises is, who will or should protect the citizenry against state capture by a selfish elite? This repeats and reinforces the central challenge, defending the people from elite domination. The first responders in such situations are always the judges, who are regarded as the custodians of citizens' fundamental rights, and are bound by their oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution. First responders is a metaphor drawn from emergency services, meaning those who act first. Custodians is a noun meaning guardians or keepers. This sentence means that judges are the primary defenders of constitutional rights. Aggrieved people, those who pay taxes, direct and indirect, go to the courts to seek redress against the wrongs committed by errant public functionaries. Aggrieved is an adjective meaning feeling wronged. Redress is a noun meaning remedy or compensation. Errant is an adjective meaning mistaken or straying from proper conduct. This sentence means that citizens turn to the judiciary when officials violate their rights. The annals of democratic struggles are replete with instances of the glorious role played by judges in support of the rule of law, particularly in India, America, and Britain. Annals is a noun meaning historical records. Replete is an adjective meaning full. This sentence means that judges have historically protected democracy in many countries. Unfortunately, in our case, with the exception of some courageous and independent-minded judges, the overall performance of our judiciary has been dismal in the context of the constitutional struggle. Dismal is an adjective meaning very poor or inadequate. This sentence means that most judges in Pakistan have failed to uphold constitutional rights. In fact, some of the saddest episodes of the continuing constitutional debacle have been overseen jointly by opportunistic politicians and ambitious judges, with the latter often providing authoritarian and rigged systems with legal and political crutches to prop them up. Constitutional debacle is a phrase meaning a disastrous failure of constitutional governance. Rigged systems is a term meaning manipulated or unfair institutions. Crutches is a metaphor meaning supports that prop something weak. This sentence means that corrupt judges have abetted anti-democratic regimes. The 26th Amendment is a recent instance of the dubious role played by them. This sentence means that the constitutional change stripping judicial security is a clear example of judicial complicity. They have helped the powers that be create a super executive at the cost of judicial independence, integrity, and collegiality. Powers that be is an idiom referring to existing rulers. Super executive is a term meaning an office with unchecked authority. Collegiality is a noun meaning cooperative relations among peers. This sentence means that judges aided in building a hyper-powerful executive branch while sacrificing their own autonomy. Predictably, the newly created constitutional bench has already passed a series of controversial judgments. Constitutional bench is a technical term for a panel of top judges tasked with constitutional interpretation. This sentence means that the special High Court panel has ruled in favor of the ruling coalition, ending in, it has legalized civilians' trial by military courts, validated the permanent transfers of judges from one high court to another, and handed the ruling coalition the game-changing reserved seats to further amend the Constitution, thus upgrading the existing hybrid system to, perhaps, hybrid plus. Legalized is a verb meaning made legal. Game-changing is an adjective, meaning significantly altering the situation. This sentence means that judiciary has endorsed measures that strengthen the ruling elite's grip. Thus, it is clear that the emerging political legal order is going to make the rapacious elites all the more extractive and repressive, and yet immune to accountability, with the hapless people being the easy prey. Rapacious is an adjective, meaning aggressively greedy. Extractive is an adjective meaning taking resources without benefit. Hapless is an adjective meaning unfortunate or powerless. Prey is a metaphor meaning victims. This sentence means that the new system will embolden greedy elites while the masses remain helpless. Until, of course, the wheels of history are turned against them. Wheels of history is a metaphor for the long-term forces of societal change. The sentence means that ultimately popular or historical forces may overthrow the elite order. The writer is a lawyer. Shahab Usto at hotmail.com, published in Dawn, July 25, 2025.